My water got turned off in 2016 of October. I have 6 kids. I did everything I could do to call and talk to people, and everybody turned me down. So my water stayed off for about 3 months. One of my kids had to go live in Atlanta with his aunt.
Where our rents were $850 a month, and we were able to make it. We were able to pay our water bills. Well, now the rents are up to $2,200 a month.
I am one of those single mothers that has had their water off for almost 6 weeks now. I'm struggling to keep my $2,200 a month of rent.
East Bay Mud says it's trying to keep up with its crumbling infrastructure.
East Bay Mud says the broken main was made of cast iron and almost 100 years old.
Interest can add a lot to the cost of a project.
It's paid by us. I mean, it's imposed on the users. So then the user fees go up. So your water bill might go up.
Currently, our annual debt service requirement is about $170 million.
Why do we need to have to go to Wall Street about our basic needs and necessities of life? These are fundamental rights that we all deserve. I mean, we cannot survive without the necessities of water.
Right. So the alternative would be to set up our own banks.
The city of Oakland controls hundreds of millions of dollars, and the city of Oakland routinely goes to Wall Street in order to borrow $10 million. Now that's a little funny.
With a public bank, the city of Oakland, along with some other cities, could say, well, we will use our own money to create the reserves necessary to finance our own infrastructure project.
They have control of substantial wealth, but they've been told that the only way to actually do what they need to do involves these external for-profit banks.
How many other public banks do we have in the Bay Area of this nature?
None.
None. How many do I have in the state?
None.
None. How many do I have in the country?
One.
One. And that's the one in North Dakota.
Correct.
North Dakota's had a public bank for 100 years. So this has proven to work. This is not a pie-in-the-sky idea.
So, I understand the direction, but we got a million things to do, and I'm having a hard time doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
You do have the responsibility to give the power back to the people. And this public bank will allow us to have the power back to the people.
Community economic control is essential. Cutting the ties to Wall Street is essential. And public banking is a critical way not only for us to move our money into a more socially responsible methods of investment, but to also fund very important priorities for our community, whether it's funding affordable housing,
fix the infrastructure,
renewable energy projects,
the conversion to a green economy,
fund student loans,
to bring equity and economic opportunity to all of our communities.
Look at the needs of the citizens of Oakland, understanding how money works, how banks actually created, and ask yourself, is there a role for a public bank in creating something that's essentially cost-free to create in a way that benefits the citizens of the city rather than just the banks? If you ask most people, they think the government creates money. They don't know how, but they just think that's the way it works.
Banks, not governments, actually create the vast majority of the money supply, which is a total mind bender. Most people were not taught that in school. We're raised to think that the government issues the money.
That's not how it works out. 90% of the money is created by banks when they make loans.
The way they do it is by double entry bookkeeping. So if you go to the bank to take out, let's say you want a mortgage.
But let's assume you want a mortgage, $300,000. Well, you go to your friendly banker, and the banker says, here's $300,000. And a few keystrokes on the computer, and there's $300,000 in your account.
Where the double entry bookkeeping comes in is that the bank will write on one side of its books $500,000 as an asset to itself because you have promised to pay that back over time plus interest. And then they'll write on the other side of their books $500,000 as a liability to themselves.
And that's how money is created.
Their books balance. They'll say, well, so you got 500 plus, 500 minus, it comes out to zero. We haven't really created anything. We've just done double entry bookkeeping.
It's hard to get your head around this idea. When I've talked to people about this, they say, wait. What, you're saying that it's that simple, just a few clicks on the computer and there's money?
Banks do not lend their deposits, that they actually create deposits when they make loans.
Banks don't lend their deposits. They create deposits.
In 2014, the Bank of England actually came out and said it. They said, contrary to popular belief, banks do not lend their deposits. They actually create deposits when they make loans. And, said the Bank of England, 97% of the UK money supply is created in this way. So this is a bit shocking. If banks create the money they lend, why are we borrowing from them? Why don't we have our own banks? Why doesn't the government issue its own money instead of borrowing money created by banks?
So bankers want to be in charge of the money. It's a great system for them. But I can't see any great advantage to anybody else.
I got 6 kids in the house, so I went outside, I cut that lock off, and I said, well, I gotta do what I gotta do because I got them. I gotta put some water in the house.
And then you get charged with this $1,000 water stealing fine, huh? And it's a wrap. What do? You know what happens? You lose your water. You know what happens after that? Somebody finds out that your kids don't have water, you catch a CPS case. You know what happens after that CPS case? You lose your kids.
These situations are real. People are going through hardships. People are dying out there.
Please reconsider this. And so many people have got their water shut off.
I'm supporting delaying this off because I don't want to waste $100,000.
We're talking about saving $57 million a year in bank fees and also making, over and above that, profits of $180,000 a day. We're talking about having the kind of money that can solve the kinds of problems that break our hearts to hear about.
Get involved, tell your friends, call your council member. We have an outreach committee that's been going to farmers markets, handing out information, getting signatures on a petition to make sure that the council knows that there is a serious support around town for this bank.
Who should be creating the money in the economy? And for whose benefit? That's the fundamental question.
People need to take over the creation of money and take it out of the hands of the Wall Street banks.
Because until that's a reality, that every human being has a right to water, has a right to living wages, has a right to food, has a right to affordable housing, then we can never stop fighting.
There's this term that I find really useful, Overton window. That is, what you can talk about without being considered a crackpot. That's the stuff in the Overton window. If it's outside the Overton window, if you bring it up, people think you're a crackpot. Well, the idea that bank-created money isn't necessarily the only type of money that we can have in society, and probably not the best, is not now in the window. We've got to bring it into the window so that people aren't afraid to talk about it, and those who do talk about it aren't considered crackpots.